watching Just the News. I'm Amata Balachandra. We're going to start off today with the Hanuman Chalisa road. There's a lot of updates that's coming on this story. The Bombay High Court today dismissed a writ plea by independent legislator couple Ravi Rana and Navneet Rana. Now, the Ranas were arrested after they announced that they would recite the Hanuman Chalisa outside Uddhav Thackeray's residence, triggering protests in the city. We also heard of Shiv Sainik's trying to enter their house the morning after as well. Police had filed an FIR under multiple sections of the IPC, including 124A and 153A, which is promoting enmity, and the Bombay Police Act was filed against the lawmaker couple. They also face another FIR under IPC section 353, which is assault or criminal force to deter public servant from discharge of his duty. Now, the Maharashtra government on Sunday invoked the sedition law against them. Now, taking a step further from this, there was an all-party meeting today that took place with the Maharashtra government, now saying that the centre has to come up with rules for the use of loudspeakers at religious places across the country. Now, the government said a delegation will go to meet the centre's representatives to discuss this issue. Maharashtra Home Minister Dilip Valse Patil has clarified that the state government cannot remove loudspeakers that have been installed at religious places, and only those people who have put up loudspeakers can decide on the issue. Moving away from the story now to Karnataka, after hijab controversy, a new row has erupted in Karnataka, alleging that a school in Bengaluru had taken an undertaking from parents that they would not object to their wards carrying the Bible to class. Now, Hindu Janajagriti Samiti today has accused the administration of Clarence High School in Bengaluru of making it mandatory for students to carry the Bible. Now, the school has given a statement. Speaking to ANI, the principal has said, and I quote, "We are aware that some people are upset about one of the policies of our school. We are a peace-loving and law-abiding school. We've consulted our advocates on this matter and we'll follow their advice. We won't break the law of the land," end quote. In the meantime, there's also remarks coming in from Karnataka Education Minister, who has said, and I quote, "No institute can force anyone to practice something which is against their religious practices. The department will take action if they have done so," end quote. An update now in the Lakhimpur Kheri case. Earlier, the Supreme Court had cancelled the bail granted to prime accused Ashish Mishra by a Lucknow High Court bench and had given him a week's time to surrender. So that has happened. Union Minister Ajay Mishra's son, Ashish Mishra, has surrendered at a court in Uttar Pradesh. 8 people, including 4 farmers and a journalist, had died in the Lakhimpur Kheri violence, which took place on the 3rd of October. Also in the news, Gujarat MLA Jignesh Mevani was rearrested in a new case today right after he got bail by a court in Assam. Now, he was earlier arrested in connection with an alleged defamatory tweet against Prime Minister Narendra Modi, while NDTV has reported that the police from Assam's Barpeta haven't clarified yet in which case Mr. Mevani has now been rearrested. Indian Express has quoted Mevani's counsel as saying that the sections he's been booked under are 294, 353, 354 and 323 of the Indian Penal Code, suggesting that Mevani had allegedly misbehaved or assaulted police officials while in custody. Now, his counsel has also told Indian Express, and I quote, "This is a completely false and fabricated case. We will now move for bail there," end quote. Meanwhile, in Jammu and Kashmir, 3 LET militants were killed after a brief gunfight in South Kashmir's Pulwama on Sunday afternoon. One of them was an LET deputy chief, according to the police. This was the second encounter in South Kashmir in less than 24 hours. Now, on Sunday morning, 2 militants were killed in an overnight gunfight in South Kashmir's Kulgam. Now, Prime Minister Modi visited Jammu and Kashmir on Sunday for the first time after the abrogation of Article 370. Now, weeks after several protesters belonging to BJP's youth wing broke through police barricades outside Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal's house, the Delhi High Court has questioned the security arrangements made by the police to prevent this. Now, the court has said that it is clear that there was a failure. The court has told the police, and I quote, if people could breach 3 barricades, then you need to seriously look at your efficiency, your functioning, end quote. Now, the court was hearing Aam Aadmi Party MLA Saurabh Bharadwaj's petition seeking the constitution of an SIT headed by a retired High Court judge for an independent probe in this attack. The next hearing in this case is on the 17th of May. Meanwhile, the Rajasthan police has arrested a priest on Sunday for not allowing a newlywed Dalit couple to offer prayers in a temple in Jalore city. Now, on Saturday, the couple had halted their wedding procession at the temple in the district's Nilkant village to offer a coconut. Now, according to the bride's cousin, the priest did not allow the couple to enter the temple if they are Dalit and asked them to offer the coconut outside the temple instead. Also in Tamil Nadu, according to a report by the Press Trust of India, the Tamil Nadu Assembly unanimously has adopted a bill that allows the state to appoint vice chancellors to the universities in the state. Now, vice chancellors are appointed by the state governor. The bill has received the support of the opposition party, but other opposition parties such as the BJP and the AIDMK, however, have staged a walkout. Now, according to NDTV, Chief Minister Stalin has said, and I quote, by convention, the governor appoints vice chancellors in consultation with the state government, but over the past 4 years, a new trend has emerged of governors acting as if it's their prerogative, end quote. He also added that this practice disrespects the elected government and is against the philosophy of people's rule. Also, according to a report by Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, India was the 3rd highest military spender in the world, just behind the US and China, amounting to $76.6 billion in 2021 alone. Now, the global defense expenditure reached an all-time high of $2.1 trillion in 2021, hitting record levels despite the COVID pandemic. Moving on to COVID roundup across the country right now, India has reported 2,541 new COVID cases in the last 24 hours. 30 deaths have also been reported. The number of cases being reported is marginally lower than what was reported yesterday, where India had reported 2,593 new COVID cases. In the meantime, in Haryana, the Chief Minister has announced free booster COVID shots for age groups between 18 and 59. It can be availed at any government hospital or dispensary. Earlier, Delhi had made a similar announcement. Karnataka Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai, in the meantime, has said that clear instructions on how to manage the pandemic will be given on the 27th of April, which is when they'll have a video conference with Prime Minister Modi. Chief Minister Bommai said, and I quote, the COVID second wave started slowly and later exploded. The scientists are studying the virus variants, end quote. Meanwhile, Jharkhand government has asked schools to suspend morning assembly, cultural programs and sports activities amid a rise in COVID cases. Now, as per the new guidelines, schools have been asked to conduct health checkups on a regular basis as well. Moving on to business news right now, starting off with the stock market. Nifty has ended below 17,000 and Sensex fell 617 points. Except bank, all other sectoral indices ended in the red. Auto, capital goods, FMCG, healthcare, IT, power, all of it were down between 1 and 4%. Rising inflation, Russia-Ukraine crisis, COVID surge in China, these are some of the reasons why this is happening. Moving on to environment news at this point, a retired fire chief was killed and at least 15 firefighters were injured in wildfires that swept over parts of the United States, Nebraska. Now, these were wind-driven wildfires, and authorities are still working to contain the fire. According to authorities, blazes have been reported in 14 counties around the state since Friday. Moving on to international news right now, French President Emmanuel Macron won the re-election for a second term on Sunday. He is the first French president to win a second term for 2 decades. months. Also in the news, in China, volunteers and government workers in Shanghai have erected metal barriers in multiple districts to block off small streets and entrances to apartment complexes. In the meantime, there are concerns that similar strict COVID measures of COVID can even be implemented in Beijing as it's witnessing a surge in cases. Meanwhile, it's been over 2 months since Russia has invaded Ukraine. According to Ukraine officials, 5 railway stations have come under attack in central and western Ukraine. At least 5 people have been killed after Russian rockets struck 2 towns in Ukraine's central region. There's also information that Russia has now said that it will suspend attacks on the steel plant in Mariupol to allow civilians to leave, but Ukraine has demanded written security guarantees instead. And one piece of good news before we wrap things up here on this bulletin: a Pune-based entrepreneur, Rahul Pathak, has won a gold prize at the Edison Award ceremony in the United States. Now, he won the award for his innovative solution of making clean, potable water available quickly at affordable prices for people facing natural calamities. His firm is called Aqua Plus. That brings us to the end of this bulletin. Thank you so much for watching. Good night.